crisis looks like. My midlife crisis, or yours, or somebody you know. An identity crisis is definitely a part of a midlife crisis. I think a midlife crisis would be like an identity crisis combined with an aging crisis. But what I wanted to talk about in this video is the identity crisis part. And this is something even that younger people go through too. An identity crisis, this is like the big question: who am I? So we're going through life and we're living it, we're doing the things that we're supposed to do, we think we're supposed to do, or things that we enjoy doing, however that works out. But suddenly you're, hit with this "who am I?" question. You start to question not things so much around you as it is things inside you. Suddenly you become unsure of your role in life. Or if you had a role, such as a parent, and then you have the empty nest thing going on because they're all grown up and they're out living their lives as they should be doing. Now you're no longer in this role that you've played for, 18, 20, 25 years. That role has come to an end. And so this is, search for your life purpose or your life passion. You had one, now that's done. Now what? Or maybe you never felt like you had a purpose or a passion. You were just doing what it is that you thought you were supposed to do. And now you're questioning, but why am I here? What is my purpose? I was created, whether you believe in a higher power or not. You can also be confused about where you are and where you're going. Not about how you're going to get there, but where you are and where you're going. Again, it comes back to what's my purpose? What's my role? What am I doing here? Why do I exist? Identity crisis is also it's almost like hitting a brick wall. You don't know the real you. You don't know who the real you is anymore because you've been so busy playing these roles, right? Mother, wife, employee, sister, daughter, sibling, whatever. And you don't know who the real you is. One question that I know we midlifers have is this question: is this all there is? Is this it? Wake up, go to work, come home, cook, clean, watch TV, have a drink, chat with friends, go to bed, get up and do it again? Is this it? And the question is, why am I doing this? And for a lot of us who hit a midlife crisis, we realize that's because it's what's expected of us. Not because what we're driven to do. Not because we feel good about it. And maybe we did at first and for a long time. But when your roles change, or even if your roles don't change, just after doing something for so many years, you gotta ask, why the hell am I doing this? I just don't remember anymore. Because it becomes routine, it becomes mundane. And there's also the question that I know midlife crisis people ask: what about my needs? What about what I need? A lot of people that hit a midlife crisis are people who have spent a large amount of their time, meeting the needs of other people. They're caring, loving, giving people until they hit a midlife crisis, and then they start doing things for themselves, and their whole, all their people are like, what's wrong with you? You've changed. You've turned into a bitch, or you've turned into an asshole. And they consider you a bitch or an asshole because now you're taking care of your needs instead of fixing theirs, like you've always done. So it is confusing for the outsider. I think for those of us that have that end up with an identity crisis, whether it's part of a midlife crisis or not, I think we come to a place where we realize you're not going to be able to meet my needs, even if you want to. You don't have the ability. You can't. I am the only one that can get my needs met. On the question, who am I? Who am I? And we ask that over and over and over again until we feel like maybe we found it. But I think what we don't realize, at least in the beginning, is that who am I? When you get to that place where you ask, who am I? That means you are now in a place where you get to decide what that is. You get to choose that then. But then that begs other questions like, what turns me on? What lights my fire? What gets me going? What has me feeling like I'm alive? You question, what is the real point of me? Because if you're not playing that role as a parent anymore, or even if you are playing the role of a parent, you're playing the role, you're in a role, but what about me? And what is the real point of me? Is this my total value? Taking care of my husband? Is this my whole value? Taking care of my wife? Is this my whole value? Taking care of my kids? Is my whole value just taking care of other people's needs? And that is very devaluing, I think, because we are worth more than our roles. We really are. But we don't feel like it when we're playing our roles day in and day out. And at some point we come around to this question, why put my life off any longer? And I just want to say with that if you are a young parent, meaning a parent with young kids, you don't have to put off your life just because you have kids and you're raising your kids. Figure out what it is that you want to teach your kids. And this is why we put off our life to raise our kids, because this is what we want to teach our kids. We want our kids to grow up stable and healthy and well-rounded. But one of the other things that we want to teach our kids is how to chase your dreams, how to be free, how to live happy, how to be an adult and still have a lot of fun. I think that's one thing we miss. Many of us as parents, we miss that. We forget that one. And the way to show our kids that is to chase our dreams while we're still young, while they're young. And where am I going with my life? Even if you haven't gotten that empty nest yet, or if you've never been a parent, so you're never going to experience that, where's my life going? Where do I want to go? We have all these questions and we ponder them. And I think, I know for myself, what I've come to in the course of asking all these questions and doing some soul searching on this kind of stuff is this, and I actually come to this just recently, I don't have to know where I'm going to be in 20 years. And map that out from here to there. I don't have to map out where I'm going to be in 10 years. I don't have to make plans to drive myself to where I want to be in 5 years. I don't have to see that. If you decide you're going to drive from New York to California, and you map it out, you can sit there and you can study that and get it all in your head, and then you get in your car and you drive, and it's going to seem like a long 4-day drive, right? But if you just grab your GPS, which most people have on their phone anyway, so I'm just going to go from here to California, and you're looking at your GPS, and don't plan it all out, and you're just thinking about the next 10 miles, get through the next 10 miles, get through the next 10 miles. Before you know it, you've gone from New York to California, lickety-split. Yeah, it still took 4 days, but it didn't seem like it took 4 days. Or maybe it might take you 4 weeks because you keep stopping off and having fun along the way. I think that's what life is like. We can make a roadmap. We can decide this is where we want to be, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and make that roadmap and follow it along. Where's the joy in that? Because when you do that, you don't tend to deviate from that at all. But when I went from New York down here to Florida, it took me 13 days. Why? Because I kept stopping, checking things out, having fun. It wasn't about the destination. It was about the journey. So I think that's, for myself, through the course of my identity crisis, is coming to realize it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. What moves me and lights me up now? And that might not be what lights me up tomorrow. So with that, I'm going to say don't resist change. It could be taking you someplace that's going to light you in such a way that you can never imagine. That's it. I just wanted to cover that, the identity crisis part of a midlife crisis, because there certainly is one. You don't know who you are, and I still don't know altogether who I am. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I've gotten to a place where I realize I can decide who that is. I can decide if I want to be a nice and thoughtful person. I can decide if I want to be a bitch. I can be who I want to be. So that's it. Midlife crisis and the identity crisis part. If you have any comments or questions, pop that in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Click like, because I don't know, that's what you do in the YouTube community. Click subscribe. Follow me along on this midlife crisis journey, and let's see if we all survive.